I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Genevieve.
Leanne Waldvogel.
Yes.
Jamie Bowman.
Here.
Frank Myers.
Here.
Donna Roush. Martha Patterson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Hi.
We have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
A motion to approve the agenda is submitted.
I second that motion.
And for a motion to approve the meeting.
Do a vote.
Huh?
We have to do a vote.
All right. A vote on the agenda. Aye. We approve it.
All who say aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Do we help you through it?
Mhm.
Do we help you through it?
I'm working.
All right. Okay, so then we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. And if there are no changes or corrections,
I make
a motion
to approve.
okay.
I make a motion to second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, and so now we will call for an introduction of evidence.
Yes, and may I have the introduction of evidence?
So I would like to introduce into evidence the St. Genevieve Municipal Code, the design guidelines for the National Register Historic District, and the staff reports that are in front of you.
I make
a
a,
motion that we approve the evidence as submitted.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And is there any old business?
No.
No, there is not. And new business?
Okay, so the first item on new business is item number SGHC 036-17 for a certificate of appropriateness request to remove the porcelain panel facade from the front of the building at 360 Market Street. And I believe that Bill is here to discuss that.
Yes.
If you'd like to go ahead and approach the podium and describe
I'm
the-
representing the museum, and we're renovating the old Acadian building. There are some porcelain panels. They're white panels. They were installed in 1954. We want to remove those and expose the original building and renovate as it was built in the 1900s. So we want permission to remove those panels.
The only,
Go ahead.
the only question I had was, since the brick is like a softer brick, is that going to tear part of the face off of the bricks?
I removed one today, and actually the bricks are in pretty good shape. That's underneath there. They've been under there for 60 years, and there is a difference in color, but we plan on acid washing them and trying to get them to match as much as possible.
The only thing I can say, it's long overdue. Yeah. But there's some very good models along that street. I mean, you could go down further, the next building, Monia's old store, and the one on the corner. So I imagine this project we have this evening is just for the removal.
Yes.
I assume that you will come in later with a project which describes
Be a
the-
full, there will be a full architectural
Yeah, good.
rendering of it. He's
Because
working
we
on
need to
that.
see that, and I'm hoping that your intent is to make this building fit in with the other buildings on the
Yes.
square there.
Yes.
And not to introduce something new and fantastic.
No. Actually, we're gonna re-expose, like I said, the whole facial of it and bring it back to where it was in the 1900s. So there's no altering of the face of it whatsoever.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All,
Oh, who said
Motion
it?
by second. All those in favor say aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda in front of you is item number SGHC 038-17, a request to receive a certificate of appropriateness to install an 8x10 shed in the rear yard on an existing pad from a past shed at 268 North 3rd Street. And Travis Henderson is here to discuss the project.
Yeah, it's just a simple wooden shed with a shingle roof. I believe it's 3-tab shingles. And it's, as she said, it was in an existing place where there was an existing shed already. There's already a pad poured. And it would just be simply putting something back that was already existing there in the first place. When apparently the old one got knocked down in a storm when Catherine Kessler was the owner. It was demolished, and so we're just putting something back that was already there.
Has the old shed been removed? and,
Yes, it was
closed off?
long gone before we approached the
Okay.
property. Yeah.
So what you're doing is putting a small wooden shed
Yes, sir.
on an existing pad?
Yes.
Is this a picture of the old shed or the,
That's the newer shed.
That's the new
Yeah.
shed.
that's already there?
It's there. He wasn't aware, and
Okay.
so that's why he's here.
Well, whenever I drove by, it's hidden very well, so.
Yes, you can't see it,
Yeah.
so.
So I didn't really, I mean, only from reading did I know it was there.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second. Do we have a second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is SGHC 039-17, a request to receive a certificate of appropriateness to demolish the garage at 363 St. Mary's Road. And Donna Marlar is here.
Yes, I would like to demolish it because it's ugly. And I've been working, restoring the house that sits there on the property. There's a whole bunch of pictures there that Carla took.
Yeah, it's a very important section of town, and particularly if the Department of Interior proposal is approved.
I have
Going to be
no
extremely
idea how long
important.
the garage
And
has
I've
been
noticed
there.
that you are preparing the house
Yes,
to be painted and that work
Right.
with the front porch.
yes.
Now, once you take the garage down,
Mm-hmm.
and you've made a decision that it can't be restored, or it shouldn't be restored.
It's too expensive. And I've already spent quite a bit on the house.
I don't like to hear that as an excuse, but I understand. What will the pad be? Will you leave it there?
There is
or
no
will you
pad.
turn it into lawn?
It's dirt.
It's
a
dirt?
Dirt floor.
Okay, so it will just become part of the lawn?
Yes, mhm,
Okay.
correct.
And there's no way of knowing how old this structure is?
It's listed in the historic status, but it doesn't age it.
I just noticed the 1900s and I was
Guess we haven't
nervous
had
about that.
historical record about that.
We don't have any.
Well, I don't see anything historic about a shed or a garage or whatever. And I'm going to make a motion to approve the demolition of this.
All in favor of that? Hmm? Yeah, so
I hate to lose a structure that is part of the National Register, and particularly in that location. But I believe that under the circumstances, it's the best thing to do and concentrate on getting the house restored. So
I
I
feel
will make
like-
a motion to approve.
A second.
all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is item SGHC 041-17, a request for certificate of appropriateness for an above-ground pool in the rear yard at 411 St. Mary's Road. And I'm
You
sorry,
skipped one.
I'm sorry, I missed one. Not yet. Sorry, Kim. SGHC 040-17, a request for certificate of appropriateness to install a deck on the rear of the house at 119 North 5th Street. And Carl Kinsky is here? Yes.
Right. This is Mary Pura's house, and it's a Sears kit house that was built in the 1920s, and then they added a kitchen to the back of it in the later 20s, and then in the 1990s, Bob and Mary Pura added a kind of sunroom in the back of the house, and there's right now kind of a dilapidated stoop leading up to the back door that enters the sunroom. And we want to get rid of the dilapidated stoop that was built in the 90s and replace it with a deck. The deck's maximum height will be lower than this floor. It's only visible from the alley, and
The maximum height would be lower than the table?
yes,
Okay.
yes, I mean, I mean, what? About a foot and a half. Yeah, maybe a foot and a half, so it would be a small deck, but we think it's necessary to make the backyard usable right now, and there's, like I said, the stoop is almost, it's not quite at the point where you don't want to walk up the steps, but it's almost at the point where you don't want to walk up the steps. So that's what we're wanting to do with the backyard.
It's difficult to envision what you're doing from the information we have here. But as I understand what you just said, it's just a small elevated platform
Yes,
to, next to a door, so that you can conveniently use the door.
conveniently use the door and maybe put some chairs out on the
Yeah.
deck as well. It would be small, I think we're talking about 12 by 10 feet, something like that.
Oh, 12 by 10, okay.
Mhm.
The request that I had was
12 by
19 by 12.
Okay, it would be 19 by, that would be the
Okay.
maximum
19 by
size,
12.
yes. Yes,
And that's much bigger than I envisioned, but now it will have the railings, the staircase, a stairway.
yes.
Railing.
I mean, it'll be not more than 2 or 3 steps, but yes, it'll have some stairs and a rail.
With it being at that height, it'll require a building permit anyways, which would require the railings because it would be, 30 inches high anyways. It would require railings.
I think that since it's in the backyard and it's not seen, that I think there's no problem with it.
I don't think there's a problem either.
I make a motion to approve the 19 by 12 deck on the rear of the, or smaller, on the rear of the house.
I'll second that. But I would appreciate in projects of this type to have a little bit more detail to see. I mean, with what we had in this document, it just invites questions. Had there been a little bit more of a drawing so that size and railings and that type can be
Yeah, a little
established?
more exact.
It speeds up the
dimensions
process.
and that would be good. But do we have a motion and a second? Motion, we have a motion and a second.
All fair say aye.
We have all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is SGHCO 41-17, a request for certificate of appropriateness for an above-ground pool in the backyard of 411 St. Mary's Road. Kim Bosser is here. Sorry about that a while ago.
That's okay, that's okay. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm here, and let me say first, I want to apologize that I'm aware that ignorance is not an excuse, but it's the only excuse I have, that I was not aware that I needed a certificate of appropriateness or permit to put up the pool. So I just want to apologize. I sincerely did not mean to try to circumvent the system. I just wasn't aware. That being said, I would like to keep my pool. The pool's up. I've stopped everything that I was doing on it. I have not put up the privacy fence yet or even started on a deck or anything. It's just the pool itself because I want to get the certificate of appropriateness first and the permit before I would do any other further construction on it.
So are you wanting to also put up a privacy fence as
Yes,
part
ma'am.
of this request?
Yes, I definitely need a privacy fence. I don't want it to be seen from the road. It sits
What,
to the side of my house in the yard, and I wanted to put, like at the corner of my house, across there, if I put privacy fence across there, you wouldn't see the pool.
do you know what sort of fence you have in mind?
No, that's why I would like you to tell me what type of fencing would be most appropriate. What would you, whatever you want me to have is what I'll put up.
I think that an attractive fence, I think, is required by your rules, but some shrubbery in front of the block.
The fence?
I mean, yeah, an above-ground pool and a fence is not really that attractive situation, but it doesn't have to be in full view. With a little bit of shrubbery strategically placed, you'll never know there's a pool there
Correct.
from the road. And I think it's very important that we pay attention to that road now, so that it does look good and attractive to people driving through.
I agree with you.
So, should we
We can amend the request.
amend this to include a fence, or should we wait and see what the fence is going to look
Well,
like?
and I think she's looking at, you know,
Asking for
she's asking for a
suggestions.
suggestion, and she wants to make sure that the fence that she puts in is appropriate. So if, would a 6-foot wooden privacy fence, would that be appropriate to
Well,
the
that's the
commission?
maximum height, and I imagine
Right.
that's what you would want for privacy.
Yes, I just wasn't sure, the materials. You know, I mean, there's other, my soffit and stuff on my house is vinyl. I know vinyl is usually a no-no, okay, so I'm fine with that. I think vinyl would probably match the rest of my house the best, but I'm perfectly happy putting in a wooden fence, a composite fence, whatever I need to have, but I definitely need a fence.
I don't know.
I think.
I think if we had a wooden fence softened with some landscaping,
You know, the tall grasses and
Right,
stuff like
right,
that, just
exactly.
to kind of make it not so harsh.
Right.
But I think a wooden fence is what you're probably looking for, because you have those other structures down that are extremely historic. And if everything happens the way we want it to happen in town, the traffic might be more there. So then you really want a fence.
Right, exactly. I mean, I can see it from the road, and it definitely needs a fence.
Yeah,
But
so
for
that,
one aspect of it, for two, I don't want people seeing me in my backyard in my pool. You know, so there's two reasons for a privacy fence.
well,
Visitors either.
Exactly.
So I think that would be our suggestion, a 6-foot wood, maybe some,
And let her decide what kind of wood fence she
Yeah,
wants.
so now when you say a 6-foot wood fence, is it okay to get like treated wood so that it's
Yes,
You
it's
know,
rot
so-
resistant.
easier to take care of?
yes.
Okay,
And the wood would be more appropriate for the area.
yes. Now, just to clarify, I was planning to put wood fence from the corner of my house across, like parallel with the street at the corner of my house. I was not intending to run the fence like all the way around the pool or anything. I was just gonna block from the street, and that would be appropriate.
That would handle the vision part of it, however, the safety
I don't know what
aspects of
insurance
it are
wants
not
you
our
to do.
purview.
Right.
Right, and we can talk about that.
And then, I guess, another piece of it would be, I wanted to add a deck onto it at some point. Do I need to lump that in now, or would I come back, or, I mean, I need a deck, and that's where it would be the, the gated, that's where all of that would come in, I think, with insurance and everything, that on the deck, it would have a locking gate to get into the pool.
Well, if it's behind the fence and not visible from the street, would that be this commission's
Usually things that we don't
ruling,
see.
or the city?
Right, well, and what we would do is the city would look at the safety aspect of it and make sure that everything is the way it is supposed to be as far as height and regulations for the building code. As far as the visibility and the character of the property, that's where you guys would decide, do you want the fence to go just across the front? Do you want it to encompass, is it,
If it goes from the corner of the house and
Oh,
blocks
gotcha.
it from the
from the view?
street completely, then
So we're voting on her to have a fence, a wooden fence.
A 6-foot
And to
wooden
keep the
privacy
pool.
fence. Yes.
Okay.
and to allow the pool.
Right.
That's already there.
Well, I make a motion that she has a fence, can get a fence and keep the pool. And then the rest would be under the compliance of the city, correct? Okay.
Do we need to specify that it's a 6-foot wood fence?
I have that on here, yes.
Okay. Then I make a motion to second.
And we have a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Next item on your agenda is SGHC 042-17, a request to receive a certificate of appropriateness for an addition to the rear of the mill with a 72 by 40 garage, replace 22 windows with vinyl replacement windows, and then to replace the tin awning with a colored awning at 305 North Main Street. And Chuck Smith is here.
How are y'all doing this evening?
Good, hi.
Good. Yeah, she said I'd like to, I know Frank, the last time we tore down you had some admiration about the back of the mill when we tore it off, how much was gonna be left, things of that nature. But as the tower was rotting, we ultimately, safety-wise, we needed to take that part down. So ultimately, what I'd like to do is add back on that existing foundation a single-level structure. Basically, it's going to be a garage, which is I have a 40-foot wide by 72-foot foundation left. There would be a 4-foot elevation on the 22-foot part on the back of it. So basically, you're going to have a 40 by 50 garage with two 16 by 14 garage doors, an entry door, and then on the elevated part, it'd be just for storage and whatnot. Would do that in the gray metal that is on the existing gas station that's there now. That gray metal would match. I'd like to take all that old beat up aluminum siding that's on the mill now, not the rock part, but what we have left, and put all new gray siding on there, that gray metal siding, to match the roof of the gas station. And that would go down the front, the back side, and then the upper part of the rear of the mill has got probably a 20-foot section by 12-foot section that drops down from the roof. The rest of that existing brick, all the rock and everything that's there would all stay intact. And then, as far as the windows goes, we'd like to replace the windows were replaced in '93 in the front when the flood came through, and then they replaced the stone, whatever you want to call it, the sill down at the bottom. So we had all that done back in when the flood left, and then the new windows were put in then, but they're where they need to get replaced again now. So that's where we're at on that. The windows that are in the place are single pane. They're not efficient at all. So that was a part of the putting the new windows in. And then the existing awning that's there is all rusted up. And so we want to take virtually the same color as the city has out here, maybe a little darker maroon, and make that awning all the way down the porch. And then our new building that comes in, our new garage, the actual end of the garage, the roof line would marry up to the porch, so it looked like one continuous porch, but then our roof would go up for our garage. So, and that would be, we would do that in that maroon, but have the gray siding on the side to match together.
Is this going to be your home?
It is going to be my home. I'd like it to be.
I think that's wonderful. I'd love to see people taking
It's
it.
going to be about 10,000 square feet to take care of, but I think we'll do it.
Get more Swifters.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
But that is the intent. We are planning on selling our house on the hill, and we're going to move down there. That is correct.
If I remember right, the back end of that now is, I'm talking about the entire back section. That is framed in wood.
It is.
So, and you're connecting a big garage onto that.
That is correct.
That is something that I think the department should look at carefully
Oh, we will.
to see that that's satisfactory both from
Well,
a
and-
structural and a safety standpoint, fire.
Right,
Oh.
and we will require detailed drawings before the project were to commence.
Well, yeah, that's my next question.
Well, and-
I don't think this should have come in front of the
Well,
board
and that's-
without the detailed drawings, because what we had to look at before we came to this meeting is nothing really.
And so I had requested that more detail be given, and what Angie had said to me was that Chuck's not going to put detailed drawings together if this is not going to even be considered.
If you're taking the metal off the brick portion, why
Off
don't
of
you
the brick
just...
portion?
Yes. As I understand it, and I'm not an expert on that building by any means, the front part here is stone. The
Yes, sir.
back
They're rock.
is all brick covered with metal.
No, sir. That's all wood.
This is wood from
Yes,
this
sir.
point back?
Yes, sir. If you can see, it's all 1x10s all laid in there. Yeah.
The,
The only part that is, and I'll show you this on the back, this part is brick here, but the rest of that is all wood. So this would be exposed. I would leave all the brick exposed, and then just replace all these windows.
before you get the wrong impression reading the description of the...
That looks like a 3-year-old building.
What,
So that corrugated portion in the back is framed
It is framed.
on the south side.
That is correct, yes. Well, the north side. Is that right? What we're
No.
talking about?
North is,
Or the...
yeah, the south side.
Yeah, the south side, yes, sir, that's all framed, that's all wood. Yes, sir. And actually, if you go inside the building, there's a 3-foot rock wall existing that will stay in my new home. It'll be all existing in there as well, so you'll be able to see all that.
Why, the windows in the entire structure are going to replace it.
That is correct. As you can see, they're rotten. The fire escape that Dad put in there years ago, this board is also rotten. I'd like to get that replaced as well.
Maintenance, yeah.
And, but yes, all these, over the years have not been maintained, and they need to be redone.
And what type of window are you putting in?
I believe their Target is the brand name of them, Winger Brothers. Would be, they're vinyl.
What?
Vinyl, it'd be a vinyl window with the upper half has the crosshairs in it, you know, the grid in it.
It
And
is more than crosshairs.
Well, I mean, grid, window
It's a
grid.
historic building, it's on the
Absolutely.
National Register.
Right,
And you can't just garbage it up with taking something and say, well, there's glue, whoever something on it. Those are important parts of the structure from a historic standpoint and a visual standpoint. And they should be retained in some way. Either replaced with wooden windows, repair the windows that are there, or at least some type of window that matches the size and the configuration of the windows that are there. And I basically think we just don't have enough information on this project
There's an awful lot of parts to it.
to take action on it tonight. I think we should table it and come back and discuss it once we have all the information together.
Only the windows in the front of the building were replaced in 93?
all the windows in the rock part were replaced.
All the windows in the rock part. Well, in this.
Those are
picture-
built best windows, and regarding that, we can fix the existing windows that are in there, even though they were replaced in 93, they're not historic windows.
There's, in this older part here, there is a window like he's describing with the 6/1. And those were not replaced in 93.
No, they weren't. Everything else was original to the building, as far as I can remember.
Do you see that in the back?
The building, I think, if you look at the pictures in the thing here, I think you'll find there were 6/6s. It's one of the old buildings.
I was just trying to see if there were any of the way that he had described. No, those are, oh. Yeah, they are 6/6.
Frank,
Well-
is this what you're talking about?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
On the one
the old ones.
that's. And the windows should approximate that. I mean, in character. We shouldn't have to dig away or add into the stone structure, and we should have 6/6 windows.
And that's what I just said I was gonna do.
Well, I thought it was 6/1, but it doesn't I mean,
What?
when he first described it, I thought it was 6/1. Now they're the picture is 6/6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one in the National Register. And so that would be what we would need.
I think it would be more in character with the building, because it is an important building.
It's a beautiful building.
Well, I could let it sit, but I figured I better not, do something with it. What about the, did we add asphalt in there? What's the procedure on, there's no, permits or anything to get the asphalt overlay that is existing there now?
Would that be maintenance?
On the parking lot, you mean?
On the parking lot itself.
Covering just the existing, just overlaying?
Right, no permits, okay. Good.
Well, since it talks about the garage, I mean, with him using the existing foundation, I think we need drawings, but I feel like the garage is in the back and doesn't really affect what we see. I mean, look what was back there before, and I haven't noticed a lot of people that miss the part that was torn down, except for the silo. I heard someone mention that one time, but I don't see an issue with the garage. I'm just worried about the windows.
But you can't really tell enough about it from the drawing we have to know what it is.
Jamie's art student knows that.
I didn't go to art school.
Now, which is north on this?
North would be this way.
And you're driving around to the creek side and put your doors on the creek side?
No, sir.
Well, then they're on,
This is the south, as you explained it.
yeah. Normally drawings are the north. Oh,
As I say, I'm not an architect. Anyway, this is basically the mill. This is the old part, the metal part that we were looking at with the awning, and this would be the new part right here. The new shed would come on here, garage, 2 garage doors, one in the middle, and the existing concrete porch would come down here. We'd have steps going down there, just to get on
what about this thing?
this awning right here.
Yeah.
I would like to leave it as it is, but put new metal on it.
Okay,
And continue it so it touches the
And
garage.
it's gonna continue into the roof line of the garage. That is correct.
okay, so this, yeah, the angle will match.
Right.
Okay.
And
I
where were
have
the
no
posts
objection to that.
Oh, those antique posts I got?
Yes.
Right here in place of these old conduit posts
Those,
that,
they would be with the.
yeah, these here were conduit that Dad put in there
Yeah.
40 years ago.
And when you say antique posts,
Yes, sir.
There's a shot of them somewhere.
Picture of them somewhere.
On the last page.
Yeah, there's a color picture of them
Yeah.
on one of those
Oh.
pages there. There you go.
And no, they're not for sale.
And that all the way down.
Well, they will still look nice with the metal fence out front.
I think they will too. Those are old,
They not
actually,
go with
those
the
are old
building?
call boxes off the streets of St. Louis. And those were.
Do they not go with the style?
they don't exactly match
Older little ornate firm now.
the design or the appearance of the mill, but they'd be permanent, that's for sure. But it isn't a question of whether they're will.
Do we want to break this down into pieces? There's several aspects here. There's the garage, there's the windows, there's the tin roof porch and the posts. Is there any way to make a motion to break this up into,
Well, we can just break it up, so how do you want to break it up then?
well,
One is the garage.
yeah, the garage and.
Is there any reason it has to be approved tonight, or can we get all the information together? And would that very hard?
I do have I apologize, I do have an agenda in life. My house is currently under contract, not saying that that's gonna go through, but otherwise, I'm gonna have to kick one of my renters out, and I don't wanna do that.
Well, then
So-
let's get the information together and have a special meeting on it.
The man wants to fix his house up. Let's settle it tonight. Don't make him come back. Let's work it out.
Thank you.
I'm concerned about him, and I'm also concerned about the town, and about the ordinance that we're supposed to be enforcing.
Excuse me?
I don't want to be
Excuse me.
mean with them,
I have
but I
one
don't think
question.
we should have,
Excuse me,
I
sir.
don't think we should have even considered this
Frank.
mess of garbage that we have.
I apologize for the rudeness, but did you say you have a problem with me, per se?
No, I never
That just came
have
out of your
done
mouth.
that.
You have it under recording? I
Put it
just
back
took that
if it
as a
says that,
defense.
I-
I'm sorry, I took it as a defense.
If I said it, I apologize, but
Thank you.
I've never had a problem with you nor your
Okay.
father. We got along fine.
I just want to make sure that that was clear.
Yeah.
I don't have
And
a problem.
I think you're a progressive
The
businessman in the
only thing I'm
community,
trying to do is beautify the eyesore that I was handed, and I plan on spending an assload of money on the place And I want to live there. I want to live in St. Genevieve. I own numerous amount of properties in here. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying.
Well, and our purpose is to help you do that the best way we can that
And I
complies with
understand
the
that.
historic.
And I will comply with anything that you all deem reasonable. Other than that, if it's not reasonable, I can't afford it. And I know he said I don't want to hear that as an excuse, but when you're talking 100,000, 200,000, 400,000, it becomes a problem.
Well, that's why we're having the discussion, to make sure that everything fits together to benefit the historic aspects of the town. And
I
helps you
agree
get in
with
there
what
as
he
quick
says,
as
it's
possible.
their problem, we have to act on it as rapidly as we can. But part of that is that we can't operate effectively as a commission if we don't have all the organized information in front of us. And on this particular project, I don't think we have.
Can we put,
Granted, if we get all of this and can figure out all the different little pages, maybe it all comes together. But I hate to vote the future of that building and the future of the appearance of North Main Street to the fact that we didn't have anything to consider.
Well, is there any parts of this that we could break out and vote on, and then when we get the more complicated stuff, we can get a little more information, say about what kind of windows, which part do you want?
well, I understand that he wants a garage, but we don't, and what color it's going to be, but we don't know the exact material, the material that's going to be used, and things like that. So that's what I think we need more information on.
Okay, for specific,
I don't, with the garage, I don't really see an issue. I think there might be an issue with the vinyl windows, because in the front, any streetscape, so that would be the front and the one side of the building that people see. I'm worried about that part. And just keeping with the style of the building. So I think that we just need more detail. I don't think that, in my opinion, the addition on the back would be going on top of something that was already there on a grander scale than the shed we did earlier. You know, but will the style all go with the time period of the building is what I'm concerned with.
How about the siding, the actual gray metal that I propose to put on over the wood? Because right now I have exposed wood. It's been exposed for a while.
Do you have that?
I need to.
Do you have that?
The metal?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the same thing as I put on the gas station down there. That gray metal siding, I think that's all it is. I do not have a sample for you, no. So,
Do you have any pictures of it?
It should be in those pictures.
I don't know if you can.
I mean, I can zoom in on my phone if you want, but you can see them.
pictures are not that clear.
And as far as the windows on the front part where it's rough, we don't really need to replace any of those. We'll leave the vinyl ones upstairs and have Mark Zerlich fix them, or have DNS come back out and fix them. It's the ones where the tin is on the front and back is the ones that need replaced. Some of them are damaged, some of them's been broke. Kids go through there, destroy everything. So the front ones can stay. The ones that are on my salon, they're fine, they can stay. I'm not worried about
He
them.
says it's all sheen. I mean, all.
This is the historic.
Are those windows vinyl?
On my salon? No, those are wooden.
Yeah,
We
the
never
ones
messed with
on the front of the building are all wooden, aren't they?
No, the very top four.
Whether
This
it
one,
currently is or not.
Well, all I'm
this
saying
one,
is-
and then the one here, and the one on the, directly on the back of the building are all vinyl.
And that would be living quarters?
See, we tore
Yeah,
down the
it's
back.
already living quarters up there. His
But this
father
part
lived up there and had
supposedly
another
is
apartment or
completely
two.
sheathed in metal.
But you can see,
Oh.
there's wood,
But he
this
said
has just
that's
been,
not right, so
this was from the demolition when Greg did it. This is what we got
we
left
should
with.
know, but
So
it's not perfect.
you can see all this wood exposed here and all this tin's flapping and flying off. Those bars that's holding the awning are obviously coming off. And there's wood back here. And he actually keeps tacking this stuff down because it keeps coming off. I mean, it's
Do you have a picture of the type of metal that's on the gas
gas
station?
station. I might. See if I got one.
Is that what you said that you use?
Yeah, I do. No, I don't. It's the 10 that they approved on that building back in June of 2014 is when that was done. I don't have one of them.
Okay.
Isn't it galvanized 10 in? I don't know.
Painted metal.
Is it an exposed fastener or is it
No, it's just regular.
is it corrugated tin?
It is corrugated metal.
And that's
Okay.
what they
And
approved
then-
us for that little station down there. Now, these two windows are vinyl. That doorway is wooden. That's not the original door that's up there. That's been replaced. In the flood of 93, I guess, when his dad was up
Yeah,
there.
this is the old picture.
Yeah, these windows, this one, this one, this one, and this one can stay. This one can stay, the one back here can stay. It's these back here and the ones on the opposite side that are damaged. And if you look at this also on the back end, there's, in the other apartment that Charlie put in, there are vinyl windows on it as well. But you can't really tell. I mean, I can climb up there on a ladder and take a close up of it. Or go upstairs and do it, I guess, right? So that window, those two windows are vinyl, that's vinyl, that's fine, that's a vinyl one, and that's a vinyl one. These, see that? And that's damaged. It's completely rotten. That's in my salon. But apparently there was a wall built over it, so it's not even exposed on the inside. But look, you can tell they're busted out. That one. These two were leaving. But that and these two are the main concern.
But you'd like them to be the same.
Yeah. And we would have them the same as uniform. I mean, if you want them uniform with what's there, they can be the same. We can have them made.
So do we want to break this apart into sections, some parts of which we're going to need more information before we vote upon?
Yeah, I think it'd be easiest.
I'll say
I've got it, so far I have it broken down into the garage, the windows, replacing the awning, and the decorative post.
Yeah, let's do it.
do we have any motion on the replacement of the awning and the decorative posts?
Well, that's two separate ones. We've got them in two separate,
Okay.
unless you want to combine them into one.
Well, that's one project, basically.
I would like to table the garage just till we get more plans.
Okay, so we have a motion to table the garage. Do we have a second?
So if there's no second, what happens?
If there's no second, it dies for lack of a second. So then somebody needs to make a motion to, do something different.
The motion dies, doesn't it?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is an important project which we should approve. But I don't think we should approve it until we have the thing put together in front of us. These posts, they're beautiful posts, but the base of them is about a 24, maybe 30-inch diameter. They're supposed to be replacing wooden posts that are set on the very edge of the concrete.
They're not wooden posts now,
I know they're not.
conduit.
These are steel right now, okay? But they are set at the edge of the concrete. At least that's what the photographs would indicate. Now, if you're putting the other ones in, you're going to have to modify your roof structure, or the top of the post is going to be off the edge of your roof line.
You set your post back, your post don't have to be at the edge of your building, you can set it.
I know it can be corrected. And believe me,
And I'll
I'm
measure
not
'em.
against you doing
I'll
what
measure
you're
'em.
suggesting. I just feel that in our position as a board, we should have these facts beforehand, before we vote on it. And are willing to spend whatever time is needed and attend a special meeting after we have it all together, so that we do not delay you.
I could be here any day.
I can also.
I can too, and so can my husband. Set the date and time, we'll be here. I don't want to waste anybody else's time.
How long would you need to be able to get some detailed drawings together?
You want it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. You want it Wednesday?
No, I mean,
Thursday evening, sound good?
detailed drawings, like
Correct.
showing, what, basically, we could look at a drawing.
Next Tuesday?
When can you have them?
You want to get
I don't
back with
know.
us and we'll just make sure
In a
that
week? We can do it. We can do anything, we always do. Next Tuesday night, I'll be fine.
Well, I tell you what, call
You
me
want me to
tomorrow,
call?
call me tomorrow, and let me know when you can have some drawings together and some more detail, and we'll set a date then and make sure that everyone's available and make sure that the council room's available for that evening or that day or however.
Well, I'd say within a week.
And
So
that's,
probably look at your schedule, because we're available.
Okay.
I mean, we pretty much, except for Tower Rock, he's off at 2:30, so he's
Okay.
available anytime.
Anytime after 3.
I can change anything with my life.
Okay.
We don't really need to know what the inside of the garage is gonna look like.
No.
We
just
have,
need-
yeah.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
detail of,
Well,
just
believe
type
me,
of
I am not
and we'll
against-
talk about that tomorrow.
I'm not opposed to your project. I just want to
Right.
make sure that once we put it all together, it sails through and you get to build it just the way you
So you
planned.
call, I'll call you, you figure out when this is available and this is available.
Right.
And let me know time and date within the week.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys.
All right. So moving on, the next item on the agenda is SGHC 043-17, a request to receive a certificate of appropriateness to replace the existing Craftsman-style door with a 4-panel Italianate style exterior door that matches the interior doors at 199 Merchant Street. And Carrie Davidson is here to address the commission.
Hi.
I would like to change the front door, as you see in the picture, that is a Craftsman style door to an Italianate style 4-panel door. And I have already purchased the door, so hopefully this will work.
You going to stain it or paint it or?
It will be painted.
You want to replace this door?
Yes, that is not an Italianate door, that is a Craftsman door, and my house is Italianate.
And replace it with a door like that?
Correct. All the interior doors match that. And we uncovered behind metal the upstairs exterior door Friday, and it looked like this. So, which matches the door we would like to, I apologize, we didn't get this till, I have some more.
That's okay. I just want to say this was my great-grandma's house, and that's the kind of door that was on it,
What, the Craftsman?
this.
Oh, okay.
Original.
Yeah, I think that was on, I think, when Bill
My grandma Bo's house this was the door. And I want to come in your house.
I hear that regularly as it gets to looking better.
But that's what was on it.
Good. We're doing the best we can to make it look as original as it can.
I mean, it even has, if I remember correctly, it even has molding inside
Correct.
that is the long panel and the short panel.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the Italiante door.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Makes me miss my grandma.
Any other discussion?
So administrative approvals. So there were 2 administrative approvals. One was to install a sign at the new Main Street Inn on an existing pole. And the second was to install the signs on the 1 South Main Street for the new boutique that is opening. The Station 2 Firehouse. And then under other business, the only additional item was that I spoke with Donna earlier in the week. The Felix Valley House at 198 Merchant Street, they will be replacing the roof with a wood-shaped roof in kind materials. That's the Department of Natural Resources, so they wanted to inform us that this all would be in kind, everything will be done, you know, state standards and appropriate.
Any public comments?
Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we're adjourned.
Thank you.